What if I told you that there's a simple food sitting in your refrigerator right now that could be the key to maintaining your strength and independence as you age? A food that most people dismiss as unhealthy, but science is now revealing could be one of your most powerful allies against muscle loss after 60. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover might completely change how you think about aging and muscle health. I'm Dr. Fernando Manocchi, and after 15 years as a cardiac surgeon and now as a health educator, I've seen thousands of patients struggle with something that doesn't get nearly enough attention in medicine. The silent epidemic of muscle loss that begins affecting us in our 50s and accelerates dramatically after 60. Today, I want to share with you a discovery that has the potential to transform your golden years from a period of decline into a time of continued vitality and strength. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine your muscles as a magnificent brick wall that has protected and supported your body for decades. This wall represents your strength, your balance, your ability to climb stairs, carry groceries, play with grandchildren, and maintain your independence. Now here's what most people don't realize. Starting around age 30, but accelerating significantly after 50, our bodies begin removing bricks from this wall. Not just 1 or 2 bricks, but approximately 1 to 2% of our muscle mass every single year. By the time we reach 70, we could have lost up to 40% of our muscle mass. To put this in perspective, that's like having a wall that was once 10 feet tall, now standing at only 6 feet. The medical term for this is sarcopenia, and it affects nearly every adult over 60 to some degree. But here's what's truly concerning. This isn't just about looking different or feeling weaker. This muscle loss is directly connected to increased risk of falls, fractures, loss of independence, and even early mortality. The traditional medical approach has been to tell patients to exercise more and eat more protein. While these recommendations aren't wrong, they're incomplete. What we've discovered is that the quality and type of protein matters enormously, and there's one particular protein source that seems to have almost magical properties when it comes to preserving and even rebuilding muscle in our later years. Before I reveal this powerful ally, I need to share something that might surprise you. Many of the strategies we've been taught about maintaining muscle as we age are based on outdated science. For decades, we believed that muscle loss was simply an inevitable part of aging, like gray hair or wrinkles. We thought that once you hit 60, your muscle-building machinery essentially went into retirement. But groundbreaking research over the past decade has shown us that this simply isn't true. Your muscles at 60, 70, even 80 years old still retain remarkable capacity for growth and repair. The key is understanding how to activate the right biological pathways. Think of your muscle-building system like an orchestra. When we're young, this orchestra plays beautifully without much direction. But as we age, some musicians start playing out of tune, others play too quietly, and the conductor needs clearer signals to keep everyone in harmony. The food I'm about to discuss acts like a master conductor, giving clear, powerful signals to your muscle-building orchestra. But first, let me tell you about Maria, a 72-year-old patient who came to see me 2 years ago. She had been experiencing what she called the wobbles. Difficulty getting up from chairs, feeling unsteady on her feet, and gradually losing the strength to do things she had always taken for granted. Maria's blood work was normal, her heart was healthy, but she was experiencing something I see far too often: age-related muscle loss that was stealing her confidence and independence. Her primary care physician had recommended protein powders and encouraged her to join a gym, but at 72, Maria felt intimidated by both suggestions. What happened next illustrates perfectly why the approach I'm sharing today is so powerful. After our consultation, Maria made one simple change to her daily routine. She began incorporating a specific type of cheese into her morning routine. Not just any cheese, but a particular variety that research has shown contains the highest concentrations of specific amino acids, crucial for muscle protein synthesis in older adults. Within 3 months, Maria reported feeling steadier on her feet. Within 6 months, she was climbing stairs without holding the railing. By 1 year, she had returned to gardening, something she thought she'd lost forever. Now, before you rush to your refrigerator, let me explain the science behind why this works, and why not all cheeses are created equal when it comes to muscle preservation. The key lies in understanding something called leucine, an amino acid that acts like a master key, unlocking your body's muscle-building potential. Leucine is what we call a branched-chain amino acid, and it serves as a signal to your body that it's time to build and repair muscle tissue. Think of leucine as the foreman at a construction site. Without the foreman giving clear instructions, the workers might show up, but they won't know what to build or how to build it efficiently. With leucine acting as the foreman, your muscle-building workers receive clear, decisive instructions to get to work. Here's where it gets interesting. As we age, our bodies become less sensitive to these leucine signals. It's as if the foreman's voice gets quieter, while the construction site gets noisier. Young people can trigger muscle protein synthesis with relatively small amounts of leucine, but older adults need significantly higher concentrations to achieve the same muscle-building response. This is called anabolic resistance, and it's one of the primary reasons why traditional protein recommendations often fall short for seniors. The specific cheese I'm referring to is cottage cheese, but not just any cottage cheese. The key is choosing high-quality, full-fat cottage cheese that hasn't been overly processed. Here's why cottage cheese stands out as a muscle-preserving powerhouse. It contains one of the highest concentrations of leucine of any readily available food. A single cup of cottage cheese can provide between 2 and 3 grams of leucine, which is approaching the threshold needed to trigger muscle protein synthesis in older adults. But cottage cheese offers something even more valuable than just leucine content. It contains what's called casein protein, which is different from the whey protein found in most protein powders. While whey protein is absorbed quickly, casein protein is absorbed slowly, providing a steady release of amino acids over several hours. Think of whey protein like a sprint runner who gives you a quick burst of energy, while casein protein is like a marathon runner, providing sustained support over the long haul. This slow-release property is particularly important for older adults, because our muscle protein synthesis rates are naturally lower than those of younger people. We need that sustained amino acid availability to maximize the muscle building window. When you eat cottage cheese, you're essentially giving your muscles a steady IV drip of the building blocks they need to maintain and repair themselves. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed older adults who incorporated cottage cheese into their daily routine and found significant improvements in muscle mass and strength compared to those who relied on other protein sources. The participants weren't doing intense exercise programs or following complicated diets. They simply added cottage cheese to their daily nutrition plan and saw measurable improvements in muscle function. But there's another crucial element that makes cottage cheese particularly powerful for muscle preservation. Its calcium content. Most people think of calcium only in terms of bone health, but calcium plays a vital role in muscle contraction and protein synthesis. The calcium in cottage cheese is highly bioavailable, meaning your body can easily absorb and use it. This creates a synergistic effect where the leucine signals your muscles to grow, while the calcium provides the mineral support needed for optimal muscle function. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. You've been told that cheese is bad for you, that it's high in saturated fat and sodium. Let me address this concern directly. While it's true that some cheeses are high in saturated fat and sodium, cottage cheese is actually quite different. A half-cup serving of low-fat cottage cheese contains only about 2 grams of saturated fat and provides nearly 15 grams of high-quality protein. The sodium content, while present, is manageable when cottage cheese is part of a balanced diet rich in potassium-containing foods like fruits and vegetables. More importantly, we need to weigh the potential risks against the very real benefits. The risk of muscle loss and its consequences, including falls, fractures, and loss of independence, far outweighs the minimal risks associated with moderate cottage cheese consumption for most people. However, and this is crucial, if you have kidney disease, heart failure, or have been advised by your physician to follow a low-sodium diet, you absolutely must discuss any dietary changes with your healthcare provider before making modifications. Let me share with you the optimal way to incorporate cottage cheese into your routine for maximum muscle-preserving benefits. The timing of protein intake matters enormously for older adults. Research suggests that rather than spreading protein evenly throughout the day, older adults benefit more from what we call protein pulse feeding, where you consume larger amounts of protein at specific times to overcome anabolic resistance. The ideal approach is to consume cottage cheese either first thing in the morning or as an evening snack before bed. Morning consumption helps jumpstart muscle protein synthesis for the day ahead, while evening consumption takes advantage of the overnight fasting period when your body does much of its repair and rebuilding work. The slow-release casein protein in cottage cheese makes it particularly well-suited for nighttime consumption, as it can provide amino acids to your muscles throughout the night. For maximum effectiveness, aim for about half to 3/4 of a cup of cottage cheese, which will provide approximately 12 to 18 grams of protein and 2 to 3 grams of leucine. You can enhance the muscle building potential by combining cottage cheese with other leucine-rich foods. Adding a handful of nuts, particularly almonds or walnuts, can boost the leucine content while providing healthy fats that aid in nutrient absorption. Berries are another excellent addition. They provide antioxidants that help reduce exercise-induced inflammation and support muscle recovery. The combination of cottage cheese with berries creates what I call a muscle-preserving powerhouse that addresses multiple aspects of healthy aging simultaneously, but cottage cheese alone isn't a magic bullet. To maximize its muscle-preserving benefits, you need to address several other factors that influence muscle health as we age. First and foremost is resistance exercise. You don't need to become a bodybuilder or spend hours in the gym, but you do need to challenge your muscles regularly. Even simple bodyweight exercises, like wall push-ups, chair squats, or resistance band exercises, can provide the stimulus your muscles need to respond to the protein you're providing through cottage cheese. Think of exercise as sending a signal to your body that your muscles are still needed and valued. Without this signal, your body has no reason to maintain muscle mass, regardless of how much protein you consume. The cottage cheese provides the building materials, but exercise provides the blueprint that tells your body what to build. Sleep is another crucial factor that many people overlook. During deep sleep, your body produces growth hormone, which plays a vital role in muscle repair and maintenance. Poor sleep quality or insufficient sleep duration can significantly impair your body's ability to build and maintain muscle, even with optimal nutrition. This is another reason why evening cottage cheese consumption can be particularly beneficial, as the tryptophan content in dairy products can support better sleep quality. Hydration is also critical for muscle function and protein synthesis. As we age, our sense of thirst diminishes, and many older adults exist in a state of chronic mild dehydration without realizing it. Dehydrated muscles can't function optimally, and protein synthesis is impaired when cellular hydration is inadequate. Aim for adequate fluid intake throughout the day, and remember that foods like cottage cheese actually contribute to your hydration status. Stress management deserves mention as well. Chronic stress elevates cortisol levels, which can promote muscle breakdown and impair protein synthesis. The inflammation associated with chronic stress creates an environment in your body that favors muscle loss rather than muscle preservation. Simple stress reduction techniques like deep breathing, gentle stretching, or spending time in nature can support your muscle-preserving efforts. Now, let me address some common concerns and misconceptions about cottage cheese consumption. Some people worry about lactose intolerance. Interestingly, cottage cheese is naturally lower in lactose than many other dairy products because the cheese-making process removes much of the lactose. Many people who experience discomfort with milk can tolerate cottage cheese without issues. However, if you have severe lactose intolerance, there are lactose-free cottage cheese options available that provide the same muscle-building benefits. Another concern I hear frequently is about taste. Many people remember cottage cheese from decades ago and associate it with a bland, unpalatable food. Modern cottage cheese varieties have come a long way in terms of taste and texture. Additionally, cottage cheese serves as an excellent base for both sweet and savory preparations. You can mix it with herbs and vegetables for a savory snack, or combine it with fruits and a drizzle of honey for a satisfying sweet treat. For those watching their weight, cottage cheese can actually be a valuable ally. The high protein content promotes satiety, helping you feel full and satisfied with fewer calories. The slow-digesting casein protein helps maintain stable blood sugar levels, reducing cravings and the likelihood of overeating later in the day. Many of my patients find that incorporating cottage cheese into their routine actually helps them maintain a healthier weight while preserving precious muscle mass. Let me give you a practical action plan that you can start implementing today. First, and I cannot stress this enough, discuss these changes with your healthcare provider, especially if you have any existing health conditions or take medications. Your doctor knows your individual health status and can advise whether cottage cheese consumption is appropriate for your specific situation. Once you have medical clearance, start gradually. Begin with a small serving of cottage cheese, perhaps a quarter cup, to see how your body responds. Choose high quality, preferably organic cottage cheese without unnecessary additives or preservatives. Read the labels carefully and select options with minimal ingredients. Timing matters. Try having cottage cheese either within an hour of waking up or within 2 hours of bedtime. If you choose morning consumption, consider pairing it with berries and a small handful of nuts. If you prefer evening consumption, try it with a drizzle of honey and cinnamon, which can support relaxation and sleep quality. Monitor your body's response. Pay attention to how you feel in terms of energy levels, strength, and overall well-being. Keep a simple journal noting any changes you observe over the first month of incorporating cottage cheese into your routine. Look for improvements in activities of daily living, such as climbing stairs, getting up from chairs, or carrying groceries. Combine cottage cheese consumption with gentle resistance exercise. Start with simple movements you can do at home, such as wall push-ups, chair-assisted squats, or arm circles with light weights or resistance bands. Even 10 to 15 minutes of movement 3 times per week can provide significant benefits when combined with optimal nutrition. Ensure adequate hydration by drinking water throughout the day. A good rule of thumb is to check your urine color. Pale yellow indicates adequate hydration, while dark yellow suggests you need more fluids. Prioritize sleep quality. Create a consistent bedtime routine. Keep your bedroom cool and dark, and limit screen time before bed. If you choose to have cottage cheese as an evening snack, consume it at least an hour before lying down to allow for proper digestion. Address stress through simple techniques like deep breathing, gentle stretching, or brief walks outdoors. Even 5 minutes of conscious stress reduction can support your overall health and muscle-preserving efforts. Be patient and consistent. Muscle changes don't happen overnight, especially as we age. Commit to this approach for at least 3 months to allow your body time to respond. Remember, you're working to reverse years or even decades of gradual muscle loss, so reasonable expectations are important. Let me share another success story that illustrates the power of this approach. Robert, a 68-year-old retired teacher, came to me concerned about his declining strength and energy. He had tried various protein supplements, but found them expensive and difficult to digest. After implementing the cottage cheese strategy along with simple home exercises, Robert reported significant improvements within 4 months. What impressed me most about Robert's transformation wasn't just the physical changes, though those were substantial. It was the renewed confidence and optimism he displayed. He told me that regaining his strength felt like getting a second chance at enjoying his retirement years. He was once again able to help his daughter with home projects, play actively with his grandchildren, and pursue hobbies he had abandoned due to declining strength. This brings me to an important point about the psychological benefits of maintaining muscle mass as we age. Strength isn't just about physical capability, it's intimately connected to our sense of self-worth, independence, and confidence. When we feel strong in our bodies, we tend to feel more capable and optimistic about life in general. Conversely, when we experience declining strength, it can lead to a downward spiral of reduced activity, further muscle loss, and diminishing quality of life. The cottage cheese approach offers something that many complex interventions don't: simplicity and sustainability. It doesn't require expensive supplements, complicated meal plans, or gym memberships. It's an affordable, accessible strategy that can be easily incorporated into virtually any lifestyle or dietary preference. However, I want to emphasize that individual responses may vary. Some people may see dramatic improvements quickly, while others may experience more gradual changes. Factors such as starting muscle mass, overall health status, genetics, and adherence to the complete approach all influence outcomes. The key is consistency and patience. It's also important to recognize that while cottage cheese is a powerful ally in the fight against muscle loss, it's not a substitute for overall healthy living. A diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other lean proteins, regular physical activity, adequate sleep, stress management, and appropriate medical care all contribute to healthy aging and muscle preservation. For those who cannot or choose not to consume cottage cheese, there are alternative approaches that can provide similar benefits. Greek yogurt, particularly strained varieties, offers comparable protein quality and leucine content. Ricotta cheese is another option that provides similar benefits. For those avoiding dairy altogether, certain plant-based proteins like hemp seeds or spirulina can provide leucine, though typically in lower concentrations. The key takeaway is understanding the principles behind why cottage cheese works so well for muscle preservation. It's about providing adequate leucine to trigger muscle protein synthesis, delivering sustained amino acid availability through slow-digesting proteins, and supporting overall nutritional needs with bioavailable nutrients. As I wrap up today's discussion, I want you to remember that aging doesn't have to mean inevitable decline. Your muscles at 60, 70, or 80 still have remarkable potential for strength and vitality. The cottage cheese strategy represents a simple, science-based approach to maintaining and even improving muscle health as you age. But more than that, it represents hope. Hope that your best years can still be ahead of you. Hope that you can maintain your independence and vitality for years to come. Hope that simple, accessible strategies can make a profound difference in how you experience aging. Your body has served you faithfully for decades. It deserves the best care you can provide. By understanding and implementing strategies like this cottage cheese approach, you're not just preserving muscle mass, you're preserving your quality of life, your independence, and your ability to fully engage with the people and activities you love. Remember, before making any significant changes to your diet or exercise routine, please consult with your healthcare provider. They can help you determine if this approach is appropriate for your individual health status and can monitor your progress to ensure you're getting the maximum benefit safely. If this information has been helpful to you, I encourage you to share it with friends and family members who might benefit. Perhaps you know someone who has been struggling with declining strength or who has expressed concerns about aging and independence. This simple strategy could make a meaningful difference in their life. I'd love to hear about your experiences if you decide to try this approach. Consider leaving a comment sharing which aspect of this strategy you're most excited to implement, or if you have questions about how to get started. Your engagement helps me understand what information is most valuable and guides future content to better serve you and others in our community. Most importantly, remember that taking charge of your health and aging process is one of the most empowering things you can do. Every positive choice you make, no matter how small it might seem, contributes to a healthier, more vibrant future. You have more control over how you age than you might realize, and strategies like this cottage cheese approach put that control firmly in your hands. Thank you for taking the time to learn about this powerful approach to muscle preservation. Here's to your continued strength, health, and vitality in the years ahead.